Hey there, planners. I am excited today to give you an update on my work planning system for the month of April 2021. I've had some changes at work, which means there are changes in my planning system, and I'm excited to share those with you today. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, so let's start with the changes to my work situation, which then directly impacts my work planning system. So I have in the past, as you know, if you've watched my other videos, I am a leader in a large corporation. I have multiple levels reporting to me. I have directors reporting to me, and then they have organizations. And so that's kind of been the situation. I am actually being assigned to an interim task that's going to take me out of that day job and have me really focus on more project management work. So when I think about the differences in the way I will be working, whereas I have been working, in my normal job across a lot of areas, in leading and directing a lot of different areas, with the current new assignment, I'm going to be laser focused on a single, very large, very important initiative. So with that comes the need to get very focused on all aspects of this project that I'm leading. Now, it is not a long-term assignment. It's only going to take about a quarter, but I'm going to have to get really, really focused on this single effort and manage every aspect of it. So now let's talk about my work planning systems. As you all know, if you've watched my other videos, and I'll leave the playlist link down below and in a card here so that you can check those out. But I am a huge bullet journal fan for work. It really allows the flexibility, and I can change the system as needed. What I am going to be doing going forward is continuing to use the bullet journal, but I also felt like I needed a bit more structure, which is where the second guy comes in. So let me start with the bullet journal. As you all have seen in my Plan With Me videos, I have been using Astrology A5 notebook, a 365 year-long notebook for my bullet journal for work this year. I have been recreating some of the Hobonichi style spreads, which you can see in the videos linked down below, to really manage work this year, and it has been fantastic. It has been working great. Introduced the new assignment, and I quickly realized I needed a space to get very messy and a space to be more structured. And so I am splitting out and differentiating the use of my work bullet journal from the use of the more structured secondary planner. And so I also have, because of the changes, and since I was purchasing some new planning items anyway, I decided to put a nice cover on my Astrology bullet journal since I love this system. I haven't really had a cover on it. I've tried a couple of different things, but I wanted to go ahead and invest in something that I would be comfortable taking to important meetings, meeting with different levels of leadership. And this guy is absolutely gorgeous. So I will leave a link to this down in the description box below. I got this off Amazon. I'm not familiar with the brand, actually. It was a new brand name to me. It's not one that I recognized from the planner community. It was about $50 on Amazon, and I absolutely love it. So it's black Croco. It feels wonderful. It doesn't have any pockets on the outside, but it's just shiny and gorgeous and soft and flexible, but not too flexible. So I have problems with covers that are too bendy. I like a little bit of structure. So it's got a snap closure here. And the snap closure, I'll say, is big. There's plenty of room to bulk up any book that you put in here. It is ringless, so there are no rings. It's a folio cover. Here on the back panel, there is a pen loop and 5 cards. The bottom one is a passport card slot, to put something larger in, and then these are more like business cards or credit cards. It has a pocket here and a pocket here, which I've just got my notebook tucked down And then on the front side, you've got a mesh pocket and then a zipper pocket here, which is really handy to put things in. An additional side pocket here and one here, which I have my notebook stuck into. It also has in the back a very large planner wide pocket, which is fantastic for putting papers in that are larger. So you all are familiar with this setup. I have used this for a while. Not much is changing here. I am going to continue to have monthly sections. I will be setting up the April section. The only difference is I will not be putting in the structure that I have in the past. So in my previous work bullet journal setups, I went through the process of setting up a monthly page and weekly pages and then daily pages. I am not going to be doing that going forward. I'm going to go back to a style that I had in 2020, about mid-year, when I was really getting into the groove of working from home and really getting to the most minimal version I think I've ever been to in my work bullet journal, which is where I simply just flip the page, put a highlight, put the date at the top, and rapid log. That's what I'm going to be doing in this bullet journal. The bullet journal is going to go very unstructured because I feel like I need a place to get messy, put lists, brainstorm, dump things, take quick meeting notes that I'm not worried about structure so much as just getting it captured. That's what this bullet journal is going to be. It's turning into a real inbox for me of everything going on in the day and everything going on in my head. Because the nature of the role that I'm going into for this short duration is really going to drive the need for that. So that is the bullet journal update. I also forgot to mention there are two little page markers here with cute little leather shapes at the bottom. So adorable and really handy. You could differentiate based on the shape what you're marking. I'm absolutely in love with this cover. It was well worth the $50. I will use it forever. I don't see myself ever not using a bullet journal for work. And so the cover was a great investment for me. Now, let me move on to the next tool that I've added to my work planning system. All right, so here's the new guy in town. This is a Carpe Diem A5 ring planner. Now, Carpe Diem is actually an extremely affordable planner option. This planner with inserts for the year came in at around $35. And I actually got it off Amazon, but Amazon and the Carpe Diem website themselves have this option of planner, and they're about the same size. It is gold, has gold accents, has a snap, and the outside is very plain. It's just plain black, which is what I like for work. I like the way these two items kind of coordinate with each other. What I'll say about the planner cover before I even open it up, it's not my favorite. It's a little bendy. Actually, it's working itself out. So when I first got it, it was sort of really stiff, which, you know, planner covers usually are until you work into them. It was really stiff. The feel is, it feels like sort of foamy on the outside. It's still very stiff. It's got, you know, really good structure to it. You can see right now this is very tight based on what I have in it, so I don't know if I would be able to add much more and not mess up the integrity of the snap closure. So I'm not in love with it, but you know, the way I thought about this is I'm adding a new component to my planning system. The most important thing for me initially is to make sure it's functional and that the system itself and the way it's set up is going to work for me. And I didn't really want to invest too much in the cover or anything I put inside it until I know that this is the right system for me. So I'm going to give this a month and just make sure that the size, the rings, the structure, this is what I need before I invest a lot of money into, you know, the new planning element. So that's kind of my thinking. So this probably, if I end up sticking with rings and an A5, and this serves the purpose that I need, I may upgrade the cover at some point in time, and I may upgrade the things that I have inside as well. Because I have a lot of DIY and you know, a lot of things that are being leveraged from my stash. And that was important for me to begin with. All right, so let me get into this guy and show you how I have it set up. So the first thing you'll notice is I do have a color theme. My color theme for this planner is black and gold, white, and yellows. So I wanted to keep it streamlined. And I will say, even though function is, you know, the most important thing, and that's what I'm focused on, testing out the function, I need my planner to be pretty. You know, a pretty planner, especially when you open it up, just invites you to use the planner. And I need to have that. I need to have it sort of inviting and engaging when I open it up. And that's what I went for here. So I'm going to go through what you see just as you open up the planner. And, you know, the majority of it is DIY. And it's from things I already had. I didn't buy any of this stuff. You know, the only thing I purchased was the cover and the inserts that came with the Carpe Diem cover. All right, so let's start with the structure. So I have gold rings. They are 30mm rings, which is a great size. I'm definitely going to need this much space. I do wish the flap was a little longer to support being able to really stuff these rings, but the gold is pretty. It goes well with the black. In this front side here, we have a long pocket and then 1, 2, 3, 4 card pockets. On the back side, there is one pocket here that you could put a notepad in, and then one back pocket here. So that's kind of the structure of the inside of the planner. Let me talk about what I actually have in here. So this first item is a pocket card that is functional. I took some scrapbook paper, and you can see the back side is the back side of the scrapbook paper, but I took some scrapbook paper and I actually made some little stickers that cover what is in each section of my planner. The reason why I wanted to do it this way versus actually labeling the dividers is I don't necessarily want other people to know what the sections of my planner are. You know, I would rather have a numbering system and then have a little cheat sheet for myself over here. So if someone's walking by or glancing across a meeting table, I don't necessarily want them to know that I have a section for direct reports or a section for my performance in here. So this just kind of keeps it discreet. It's a quick reference for me, and I can easily, you know, just look at this and know exactly what section is which of course I'm going to memorize this pretty soon, and I won't need this, but as a new planner setup, it is helpful. I did take some laminate sheets, self-laminating sheets, and put it around here. So that it is protected and it's a little bit more sturdy, and then I have a gold paper clip just clipped to it. So that's the first pocket. The second pocket is actually another DIY. This is a piece of scrapbook paper, and I put the image on top and then made the quote here. It's one of my favorite quotes. I actually heard this quote from a leader years ago that was sort of a mentor to me, and he said, "Be brave, bold, brilliant, and brief." So get in there, do your thing, and get out. No need to be long-winded. And I really love that. It's advice that I try to incorporate all the time. Be brave, bold, brilliant, and brief. All right, the next item I have is just a little piece of this scrapbook paper with some yellow sticky tabs on it, because as you can see, I've used yellow sticky tabs as my dividers, just stuck to the page with the numbers stuck on them. And so I just wanted to have a couple extra copies here. And then I have some more of this same scrapbook paper with a few extra paper clips clipped to it. So for the most part, most of these things are functional. They also, to me, are attractive and look good in the planner. This is just a little piece of the scrapbook paper, and I have this here mainly just for decor. It doesn't really serve a purpose right now, but what I will say is if I have paper that I want to stick in this pocket, but I don't necessarily want to see them sticking out, I would stick them behind this cardstock, and that way they would be hidden. All right, for the first insert that I have, this is actually a card pocket, a business card holder, and I have not put any business cards in it, as you can see. This is all decor. I do have my word of the year here, which is flow. I have, a couple of quotes, be brave and let it be, and then just decor. And the way I made these, they are two-sided, and this is totally, all of this is DIY. These are just pieces of scrapbook paper, stickers, this is a happy planner sticker over some cardstock. And so every one of these is completely DIY. And what I was really going for here is aesthetic. I wanted my planner to be pretty and inspirational to me when I opened it up. And that's what this is. Now I can see some opportunity to stick like a monthly calendar in here. I've thought about that, just on top of the cardstock. So I also like the fact that if I get tired of this planner setup or I don't like the color system anymore, I can just switch it out. I can just add in, some different DIY stuff in here. This first page is an inbox. I actually printed this. This is really simple. I printed on white, sort of pearl. It's a little bit shimmery vellum. I just printed the word inbox on it and punched it. The other thing I will say is all of the inserts that are in here, I have already cut slits into the holes because I do not want to open and close the rings if I can help it. Carpe Diem is really well priced, but I have had this planner before and I know the rings can be persnickety. So I really don't want to mess with them that much. Unless it's adding things like this, which you don't want to cut, you do have to open the rings. Otherwise, everything else has got the slits cut so I can easily move it around or pull it in and out without actually opening the rings. This next page is just a piece of cardstock, and I wanted something as a background for this vellum because you can see through it. This actually was part of the box, the package that the Carpe Diem planner came in. I really liked the way it looked with the, sort of off-white color, the Live, Love, Plan, and the polka dots. So I cut it out and I stuck it on here with two black paper clips. All right, this is an idea that I got from Raina Plans. She uses a brain dump page with sticky notes stuck to it. So I actually took just regular neon yellow sticky notes, square 3x3 sticky notes, and I used a hole punch or a circle cutter punch to punch out the different sizes and cut them down. So this is a great way to come in here and capture any notes or anything that I don't necessarily have time to get in the right spot, or to add a sticky note to any of the other pages. So that is my functional brain dump. I created this insert myself just by using grid spacing and titling it brain dump. And then I also have some larger neon yellow sticky notes in the back. So that's my front section, just really inbox and brain dump. My second section is my getting things done section. And so as you've heard me talk about in other videos recently, I read the Getting Things Done book finally and am starting to implement the parts and pieces of that system into my planning system where it makes sense. I would say it's more getting things done light. I'm not implementing the full system because it's a bit overwhelming, but I am taking the parts and pieces that make sense for me. So this was a cover from Carpe Diem. I just attached the tab to the back of it and put the number on it to let me know that's section 1. The first thing I have is a Getting Things Done quick reference card, which goes through the system of, inboxing stuff. What is it? Is it actionable? And then what's the next action? I find this really handy and it really helps me when I'm doing my weekly reviews. So I put this on, grabbed this quick reference card off the Getting Things Done website and then printed it in an A5 size. On the back here, I grabbed another weekly review image, like a quick guide from the Getting Things Done website, and put it on the back here. This next insert I made myself. This is my weekly review. So it's got, the getting current, the capture all the things, the process and organize, and then my brain dump triggers for work on the back. I actually pull this sheet out just like this, grab my bullet journal and do a weekly review and brain dump right in my bullet journal. And this has been fantastic. So I've used this week, at the end of this week, and it was a fantastic way to get organized. I think this is going to be really handy for me as I'm moving into this new role. And it's nice to have it right here in the front. I do have a someday maybe list, which is prescribed by the Getting Things Done method, and I will capture things on here that I want to consider someday, but they're not immediate. This next insert is actually from an Etsy shop called Ameda. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I will have it linked down below, but I really liked the layout here. This is a prioritization matrix. So you've got, critical, not critical, do now, do later, and then you kind of lay out items into the prioritization matrix to help you figure out how to prioritize all your tasks. I haven't used this yet, but I think it's a great insert, and I wanted to have it right up here in the Getting Things Done section. These next inserts are from a shop called Mindful Hustle Lab on Etsy. I'll have that link down below, and they are task list. I think these are very clean looking. I love the way they're set up. You can number your task, you can write the task, you can give a due date, and then you can check off when it's done. And there's a place to date it if you want to make it weekly or monthly. I'm thinking about using this for master tasks, like for the month. I really like this insert. All right, next up in section 2, we have the calendar. And so in this, I have my year at a glance. This came from Lovely Planner. It's a fantastic printable, and I highly recommend Lovely Planner. I will have the video where I go over my sources for my favorite free printables down in the description box below. Lovely Planner is one of those, and this insert comes from that site. On the back side, I just listed out the company holidays for the company that I work for so that I know when those days off are going to occur. And then in these next sections, I have my monthly and weekly pages. So these actually came with the planner. I love the color schemes. They're really nice. These came from Carpe Diem, these monthly calendars. And so here's how I'm using the monthly calendar. I recently picked up some of these dot markers. These are clean color dot from Zig. These are so fantastic for, like making list or giving that little section, because these are undated inserts from Carpe Diem. So I used these to actually number the months and was really playing around in the March setup since I didn't really have, I picked this up in the month of March and have been just kind of playing around with it to get ready for April. The next insert I have is my own version of the weekly pages, and I actually created these myself. So it starts with a weekly pre-planning section where I can put the date of the week and just brain dump anything. So if I'm, in the middle of doing something or in a meeting or on the phone with somebody and I have a conversation about, hey, next week, I can just come here and jot it down. This is a safe place to capture those items, pre-planning items for the week ahead. When you turn into the week, so this is a section that I'm going to keep playing with. I'm going to start with this setup, and I actually designed this setup myself. I'm going to start with this, see how it works, make some tweaks, and I might update that as I go forward. But basically, you have the week on the left-hand side and then action items on the right-hand side. The week has a space for the priorities, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't have Saturday and Sunday in here because this is my work planner and I don't plan to do work on the weekends if I can help it. Sometimes that's not always possible. And then the right-hand side are my next actions that I identify out of my weekly review and brain dump. And then a list for anything that I'm waiting on, and then just a blank space for notes. This could be, things for next week or things I need to tell my team, just anything I want to capture there from a notes standpoint. I'm going to try this. I might make some tweaks to the system, but I wanted just something to start with to see, does this work, and how might I update it or tweak it as I go forward. The back side is a for next week section, and this is really about identifying things throughout the week that I want to make sure I capture in the next week or that aren't quite finished So just extra note space for the following week. And that repeats itself. I have through July in here right now. And that is what is incorporated into my calendar section, monthlies and weeklies. Dailies are not included in here because, again, I plan to continue using my bullet journal as my daily rapid logging, notes, brain dumps, ideas, conversations, all of that stuff. That's going to be the purpose of my bullet journal, and that's a very important part of my planning system. I don't want to try to crunch it into these rings. I really want to use my bullet journal for that. My next section is all about projects, and I've got some items already in here as I'm setting up for the new assignment that I have. I am going to be covering up some of that stuff because it is confidential and related to work, but I just want to give you a general idea of the type of inserts that I'm using. So the first item is just a master projects list. I created this myself, super simple to make, just with the title projects list and then a table that has headings of project, priority, due date, started, and complete. And I've got one listed here. I'm going to keep populating this. I like the concept of the definition of a project as it's described in the Getting Things Done system. So according to that system, a project is anything that takes more than just 1 or 2 steps to complete. And if you apply that definition, you very quickly get a long list of projects because there are many items that take more than 1 step to complete. And so I can see myself really using this section in that way, not only to manage the assignment that I have, which is really a big project, but also all the other projects that come up. This next section that I have is a template that I created for a project charter and an overview. And I've actually used this for the project that I'm working on, the effort that I've been assigned to. But I just kind of wanted to step through how I'm using it. So I created this template. I've got the title of the project, the date started. I've got a section about the project team, which includes sponsor, lead, and all the team members. I've got project stakeholders listed here. I've got project purpose and business need. This is why are we doing this project? And then on the back side, I have the deliverables, assumptions, risk, and milestones. And so this is just like a quick reference for any major projects or efforts. For me, this is going to be a critical section because I've got, I've gone through the process to get agreement and approval on all the things that I've captured here. And so I will keep coming back to this to ground myself in what was agreed to originally. These insert these little dividers, page markers are from Carpe Diem. They are fantastic and they are cut so that they can be moved around, come in and out. I love the black and white color scheme. It really goes with the overall theme of my planner. This is an insert from, I believe, Lovely Planner. Or Printables and Inspirations. I'll try to check that out and leave it listed down below. But again, all my sources for free printables you can find in the video I have listed down below. This is just an overall, since this major effort that I'm working on goes from April, May, and June are really the big timelines. I wanted a quick glance, project at a glance of where are the major due dates and how does the major milestones lay out from a visual standpoint. So that's what this is. And then on the back, I've got a 2021 at a glance. I do have a meeting notes page in here that I will keep any meetings related to this project. Once we've had those and I've captured the meeting notes, I will be putting those in here, but I'm going to hold off on talking about that because I actually have a whole section dedicated to meetings. And then the final insert I have in the project section is a template that I use to capture the weekly status report preparation items. So every week for this major effort, I send a weekly status report. This is a template that I built to help me capture those items as I go through the week so that when I get to the end of the week, it's very easy for me to send that status report. So I've got, the date of the week, the overall project status notes, any accomplishments this week, what were the issues and risk, any changes to the schedule, what do we need, what are the requests and needs, and then any other notes. And I've got several of these just to keep using every week as I prep. The last item in here is, again, from the Etsy shop Ameda. It's a graph notes, and then there are some project planning templates that I think are great. These are going to be really good for those smaller projects that I identify out of my weekly review projects as defined by the Getting Things Done method. And you've just got, these are from Mindful Hustle Lab. You've got the title, the goals, brainstorming, start date, due date, milestones, action steps, and how to track when those are complete. So thought this was a really great template, and I'll use those for some of the smaller projects that come up. Okay, this next section is section 4, and it is all about meetings. So I have a couple of different templates that I made that I want to share with you, and this is a section of the planner that I would just come and grab these out of and stick them in the right place once I'm working on them. So this one is actually about planning meetings. So in the role that I'm going to be going into, and really, all the time, I am responsible for planning meetings for different items. This is a template just to help me get my arms around how do I need to plan this meeting. It includes meeting title, the purpose of the meeting, who should attend, what date should it occur, and how long should it be, a table for agenda items, who would be presenting, what material is needed, and what amount of time. So this is really about developing the agenda, a blank space for notes, and then on the back side, I have next actions to make this meeting happen. So once I've done some brainstorming, a next action might be, draft the meeting notice and send it, or, reach out to one of the presenters, make sure they have the right material, get the material uploaded to a site where everybody can access it ahead of time, all of those things to prepare for the meeting. I've got a bunch of these in here because I will be scheduling a lot of meetings. The next item I have is a meeting notes template that I made, and this is for after the meeting has occurred. I will use my bullet journal for work to kind of rapid log details about the meeting as it's going on. But then once it's done, as part of my weekly review process or just end of day cleanup, I want to make sure that I capture the key items that came out of that meeting as well as any action items. And so this is kind of the cleaned up version of the notes I take during the meeting. It's got a space for meeting title, the purpose of the meeting, the attendees, the date it occurred, and how long it was. Key messages and takeaways. So what are the things that I want to make sure I remember that came out of that meeting? And then any next action items. And then there's just some blank graph paper on the back for any additional notes that I want to capture about that meeting. And then the last insert I have is all about communication. So there are always opportunities to make sure key messages are being shared to multiple audiences. So if you think about, maybe there's an initiative going on, or, something important that I want everybody to be aware of and kind of have the same information, I want to make sure I capture that and keep that in front of me. So this is a communications insert that has boxes for who do I need to talk to, what's the date that I'm actually adding this to the communications template, what date am I discussing it, and what are the messages. And so I could cover this, include multiple communications to different folks on this template, and it's both front and back. And so I've got several of those in here to use as I need to. All right, the next section is all about my performance. And so I have got a section for my one-on-ones. I have one-on-one meetings with my direct reports as well as with my boss. And I want to make sure that I'm very prepared for those meetings and I'm hitting the items that I want to hit, from a communication standpoint, getting the questions answered that I need answers, sharing the information, following up on action items. So I like to do a lot of preparation and just continuously be prepared for those. So I built this template myself. This is a place to put who's the meeting with, what's the location, what's the date, and how long is the meeting, a list of things I want to cover. And so you can imagine I would come in here multiple times, at least once a week and check over this list and make sure I've got everything captured there. I also have a place to capture what is the preparation I need to do for this meeting. So I may need to gather information. I may need to talk to somebody beforehand. I may need to send something ahead of the meeting for review so that when we get to the meeting, we can actually talk about it. This is a section for how do I need to prepare for this meeting. And then on the back side, I've captured sort of after the meeting, what were the key discussion points and what actions do I have? So I use the front side to prepare. I use the back side to summarize how it went. And I keep these so that I can come back to them and reference them later, in the year as I'm wondering how something went or if I just need to reference the discussion that occurred. I've got a lot of those in here. And then the next section is about goals. So this is actually just a printable that I made about SMART goals. SMART is an acronym: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. This is kind of a cheat sheet for me when I am setting goals for my direct reports, or I am, writing some goals for myself, or setting targets for myself. I like to make sure that they are SMART goals. So this is a little cheat sheet for me. I have a place to capture my 2021 goals. I have a place for 6 goals here. Actually, yeah, it goes all the way to 12. So I have a place for 12 goals. This would just be a short summary, a cheat sheet, a quick reference of what those goals are. I don't know that I'll have 12 goals. That feels like a lot of goals for 1 year, especially if they're challenging SMART goals. But I've got the space to write them out here if I need to from a work standpoint. I've also got a place to capture accomplishments. So I think this is so important, regardless if you're using an analog planner, a paper planner, or you are all digital. Make sure you have a place to document the accomplishments throughout the year. And I've actually got this on my weekly review system as go update this item, because you forget the little things that you accomplish. And then when you get to the point where you're actually having, that performance discussion or that performance review, whatever time frame that is on, you really can only pull from your memory the things that are the closest. So this is to help me be able to, capture every week the little accomplishments. And hopefully I'll be able to have to add more sheets in here because I will have so many accomplishments. The next few printables are another printable that I made, and it's the goals breakdown. So it's taking the items here. So I would take like goal number 1, and then I would bring it over here and I would break it down. And this is, start date, due date, what's the goal title and description, and then breaking it down into mini goals and the steps to complete. And I will do that for each one of my goals. And then I have a space for mind mapping, brainstorming, notes, information, anything related to breaking down that goal. And I've got 12 of these in here just to be able to cover all the goals I will have in 2021, particularly as I go into this new role and function, this assignment, and being able to break that down. The last section in this planner that I have right now is really just blank notes paper. So I've got some blank notes paper in here. I do plan to update this section because what I need in here is a direct reports section. So I can keep up with, what are the goals for my direct reports? How are they performing? Keep all the one-on-one meeting notes. So I will be adding that section in later after I have had this up and running and taken a look at some templates to use and developed my own if I need to. And then the very last item I have in here, I am somewhat using like a protector in the back, and that's just a zipper pouch. I don't have anything in there right now, but I'm sure I will add something as I really get into using this planner. All right, so that is an overview of my work planning system, the changes and updates that I've made, how I'm using my bullet journal, how I'm planning to incorporate this new ring system. I'm really looking forward to testing this out and kind of finding my groove. I know it's going to take a little while because it's been a really long time since I used a ring planner system at all on a daily basis, and for work it's been a really long time. So I will be sharing more updates with you, and if I love the system, I'll probably be sharing how I've updated it as I go through. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got value out of it. I hope you get ideas about how maybe you might need to tweak your planning system based on how your work changes. I would love to hear from you. Are you using a ring-bound system for work? If so, what are you using as your sections? What kind of templates are you using? Would you have any advice for me as I go into using a ring-bound planner for the first time in a really long time? I'd also love to know, have you gone through the process of having to update your planning system because something about your job changes? And really speaking specifically about work planning. How often do you update your work planning system? Does it change with how your job morphs and changes? So I'd love to hear all of that down in the comments down below. Leave any questions down below and I'll be happy to answer those as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this. And as always, thanks for planning with me.